resigns as UK Foreign Secretary.
Stay with us here on NEWS360. We bring you the details of these stories and more news. It's streaming live all across the world on 3news.com and TV3 Ghana on Facebook. In our very first story this evening, the last one of 4 flats of the dilapidated Kaiser Flats blocks has been pulled down. The demolition brings to an end the exercise by the Tema Development Corporation based on recommendations by NADMO.
The exercise, which began on Monday afternoon, took about 6 hours. Engineers from the 48th Regiment, personnel from the Tema Development Corporation, Environmental Protection Authority and the Ghana National Fire Service were on hand to protect lives and property. Last year, the National Disaster Management Organization declared the facility located in Tema Community 4 a danger zone, prompting the ejection of over 300 occupants. The demolition exercise started in February 1, 2018, after a Tema High Court order was secured by the TDC in 2013.
Some political news tonight. The New Patriotic Party successfully held its National Delegates Conference over the weekend, which saw Freddie Blay emerging as national chairman of the party. Former President John Agyekum Kufuor cautioned the party to stay focused and not be complacent.
After months of preparations, the New Patriotic Party held its Delegates Conference, which many in the party have described as successful. The choice of the venue did not come as a surprise to many, since the Eastern region gave the party the highest votes in the 2016 general elections. The streets of Koforidua were awash with posters and billboards of the NPP, prompting the UK Conservative Party representative to condemn the act.
I had to reflect. I think I saw more posters than there are delegates here in the conference. And I wondered, is this really the best use of our resources? I have a lesson from the Conservative Party, which is voters like parties which focus on the voters.
But that did not stop a party which had stayed in opposition for 8 years from celebrating.
Wherever you are, this is the man, the President of the Republic.
Former President John Agyekum Kufuor sounded a word of caution to members not to be complacent.
I believe Ghanaians trusted that it was NPP that would deliver both good governance and economic prosperity. This was why they voted the way they voted. But fellow party men and women, power has a way to trick people even of good intentions. Power, they say, corrupts. And they say absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Prior to the 2016 elections, founder of the National Democratic Congress, Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings, had given similar advice to his party members. The key message for the party leadership was unity.
We stand and will always stand for the entire Ghanaian people. The third aspect of our concentration these last 18 months has been to improve the structure of our governance. We began to take steps towards the radical reform of local government. The pledge to bring full democracy to local government is on course.
Solidarity messages from opposition political parties tasked the president to fulfill his campaign pledges. There was, however, no representative from the National Democratic Congress. After a long day, the party elected 8 executives to steer affairs for the next 4 years. Both the national chairman, Freddie Blay, and the losing candidate, Stephen Intim, promised to work towards the good of the party. The party rounded up the conference with a Thanksgiving service on Sunday.
Meanwhile, General Secretary of the National Democratic Congress, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, says the party's failure to attend the MPP Delegates Conference was not deliberate. He explains the Vice President, Dr. Bawumia, was duly informed on circumstances and was asked to relay the message and apologize on behalf of the NDC. Speaking to Efia Tieku on Midday Live, Johnson Asiedu Nketia said the NDC is still mourning the demise of the former Vice President, Kwesi Amisa-Arthur.
You know that we lost our former deputy leader, the person of Vice President Amisa-Arthur. And we did not get the invitation card in good enough time to be able to at least delegate anybody from the region to go and maybe perhaps represent us or send our apologies.
Virtually everybody in this country knew that the MPP was going to have its conference, and you know that as a matter of process, all the parties give goodwill messages. So you should have known that you would be invited to give a message.
Oh, my sister, we don't prepare for functions to which we are not invited. If there is anybody, any general secretary who is interested in this type of inter-party solidarity, I don't see anybody who has shown inter-party solidarity better than my good self. And when we are approaching such an event, and I don't have my invitation card, I even call to demand that they should bring it, because I believe that when I go there, it becomes unpleasant for them, but that is my cup of tea. So if for the reason of the passing of our deputy leader, I'm not able to go. And I've even told, I sent, my regrets through no less a person than Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, who met me at the 1 week celebration.
NEWS360, and let's ask, whose words are these? We shall use all legal means to ensure that her removal is permanent and cast in stone. These were the words of the 16 remaining Electoral Commission officials whose petition led to the sacking of the Commission's chairperson, Charlotte Osei.
At a media briefing in Accra, the group said some practices by the former EC chair were criminal. Senior electoral assistant at the EC head office in Accra, Rabiu Suleimana, noted the next step in their fight is to petition the office of the special prosecutor.
The fight for probity and accountability in the activities of Ms. Charlotte Osei at the Electoral Commission is by no means over. We are making preparations to submit these complaints to the office of the special prosecutor for investigations and possible prosecution of Ms. Charlotte Osei. We believe it should serve as a source of inspiration to many others to advance the cause of our nation by bringing public office holders to book when they act against the laws of our land. No one is above the law.
Senior electoral supervisor in Ashanti region and leader of the petitioners, Forsen Ampofo, said the group seeks to protect the interests of the nation.
We are a staff of the Electoral Commission and we know what is going on in the Electoral Commission. Nobody can incite us to do this. We do it by ourselves. It's nobody, not any party.
A lawyer for the petitioners, Maxwell Opoku-Ajamai, confirmed his clients are bent on taking the issue further.
Apart from what we submitted to the committee, we have also received a lot of documents after. We are compiling them all. They want the special prosecutor to even go further and constitute an investigation into how the 800 million Ghana cedis which were given to the Electoral Commission for the 2016 election, how the procurement processes went through.
The media briefing by the EC petitioners was to clear what they termed misinformation that they were faceless petitioners.
In some other news, the Asantehene Otumfuo Osei Tutu II has successfully gone through the biometric registration of the Ghana card at the Menchia Palace in Kumasi. He asked the National Identification Authority and other interest groups to ensure that all eligible Guineans benefit from the registration process. Here's a report by Benjamin Edu and Rachel Odame Edu Chumwa.
The Ghana card registration process at the Mencha Palace involved some paramount chiefs in the Ashanti Kingdom. The Asantehene Otumfuo Seitu received his card Monday when officials of the National Identification Authority processed his registration. The implementation of the National Identification System is among government's key processes to formalize the Ghanaian economy. The Asantehene encouraged Ghanaians to take active part in the process to register for the card. He also urged all stakeholders, especially the NIA and the minority in Parliament, to deliberate dispassionately on concerns to ensure all eligible Ghanaians benefit from the process.
The
NIA has rumored of omitting some people from their process, but with their presence here, they made things clearer. The NIA must intensify its education on requirements for registration.
Chief Executive Officer of the NIA, Professor Kenatefa, said the authority is working to ensure all eligible applicants are registered. He said the exercise has been successful in the areas covered.
The National Identification Authority was in Kumasi last week to register the National House of Chiefs. Took advantage of our presence in Ashanti region to also register judges in Ashanti region, members of the Ghana Bar Association Ashanti Region branch.
Let's stay in the royal city, Kumasi, where government is expected to construct 4 new interchanges in Kumasi to help ease the growing traffic congestion in the metropolis. President Akufo-Addo is expected in the Ashanti regional capital on July 16 to launch the Kumasi Road Facelift Project. Here's a report by Beatrice Piogabra.
Road networks in the Ashanti region are in deplorable conditions. Residents have complained of neglect as traffic congestion affects socio-economic activities in areas such as Atonso, Tafo and Swami. Government is said to have awarded some roads on contract, while others are at various stages of procurement. Addressing the first meeting of the Ashanti Regional Coordinating Council, Regional Minister Simon Osei-Mensah said in addition to the rehabilitation of roads, Kumasi will benefit from 4 additional interchanges at Angloga Junction, Airport, Santasi and Swami roundabouts. President Akufo-Addo will next week launch the Kumasi Road Facelift Project to help reduce traffic congestion.
In the region is in a very deplorable state. It is about the worst in the country. However, the government is making strenuous efforts to improve upon the total road network in the region. I wish at this point to give you my assurances that by a year from this time, there will be significant improvement in the road network within the region.
On environmental health in the region, the minister noted the collection rate of solid waste in the region has fallen by 30%. He therefore entreated local assemblies to practice door-to-door refuse collection and also institute measures to mitigate indiscriminate disposal of waste and also enforce their bylaws on sanitation.
The Chief of Staff, Akosia Frema Osei Opare, says Ghana's doors are open to the Venezuelan government, the private sector and the entire business community to invest in to promote effective economic advancement. The Chief of Staff was addressing the External Affairs Minister for Venezuela, Jorge Arieza, and his delegation at the Jubilee House when they paid a courtesy call on her.
The Venezuelan delegation is on a 2-day working visit to Ghana. The Chief of Staff, Akosia Frema Osei Opare, said Ghana is embarking on a vigorous economic program to open up the Ghanaian economy and to create more jobs, particularly for the youth of the country. She underscored that Venezuela is very welcomed to take advantage of government's numerous complementary programs such as One District, One Factory and One Village, One Dam. She suggested a memorandum of understanding for cooperation signed between the two countries some years back be implemented.
We've had very good cooperation in the past. Our special relationship in your support to Ghana when we had oil crisis. So it's not to be forgotten, and we stand ready for this renewed relationship.
The Venezuelan Foreign Minister George Arieza said his country is excited to deepen her relations with Ghana.
Already began to design a map of cooperation. Areas as energy, agriculture, cocoa, we have cocoa as well, education, culture, and many others, mining, like you have experience, so we can rely on each other's expertise in different areas. And it's a matter, as we told our teams, of political will.
The Venezuelan delegation is expected to meet officials of the Ghana National Petroleum Commission on how to foster deeper cooperation between Ghana and Venezuela in the energy sector.
Remain with Ghana and Venezuela, the two countries have signed the visa waiver and cooperation framework agreements for political consultation in Accra. This is to enhance interactions in trade and investment activities, particularly in the oil and gas sector. Minister of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, Shelley Ayokobotwe, called for mutually beneficial cooperation in other sectors of the economy.
Venezuela is a leading player in the global oil and gas industry and also a founding member of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC. Venezuela holds the world's largest oil reserves, with crude oil being the main product exported. Minister of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, Shelley Ayokobotwe, highlighted the need to learn from best practices and tap into the expertise of their counterparts.
We believe that they can help us in several areas and we can help them also in several areas. We touched on the area of developing our police force in the security sector, also in the area of narcotics. They have presented to us a draft MOU that we are looking at for security cooperation, also in the energy sector.
Minister of Foreign Affairs of Venezuela, George Arieza, said the two countries have economies that complement each other and urged that ways be explored to join the free trade area.
To join the free trade zone that the African Union has been building, and we are going to work in advance, and when this free trade zone comes into force, when it's ratified by at least 22 countries of the African Union, we will have proposals from Latin America, from Venezuela, Latin America and the Caribbean to join.
The two countries met to critically assess and weigh the positive contributions their bilateral relations have made to the socio-economic development of both countries. Agreements on visa waiver and cooperation framework for political consultation were signed by the two ministers.
Watching News 360, let's now take a look at our MTVisual reports this evening as our citizen journalist Darlington Kaing throws a spotlight on a water situation at Kpong in the eastern region.
This is Kpong, and this is the main pipeline that transports water from the Kpong headworks to Tema. This situation has been like this for the past 3 months. It might interest the general public to know that the spot from which treated water is gushing out to the Kpong headworks is just about 2 kilometers. Obviously, treated water gushing out like this is at the end of the day going to be surcharged to the consumer. Only God knows when authorities of the Kpong headworks will be attending to this waste. For TV3 News, Darlington Kaing, Kpong.
Now, we encourage you to also send your visual report via WhatsApp number. That's 055-14-33044, 055-14-33044.
You're watching News 360. We'll return shortly with news from the business industry. Stay with us.
Hello, good evening. Thanks for staying with us on News 360. Time for business. I am Nanekia Mensah Brampa. Talking about the mid-year budget review, the Industrial and Commercial Workers Union has backed calls for the Finance Minister to reintroduce property taxes in the upcoming mid-year budget review. Now, the General Secretary of ICU, Solomon Kote, is confident that this will assist government raise enough revenue to pursue its flagship programs.
The General Secretary agreed that government revenue has been affected due to the cutting of taxes and some reliefs. Solomon Kote recalled the free SHS policy, which has consumed over 500 million cedis of government allocations. Due to that, the Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta few months ago emphasized on reintroducing property taxes in the next mid-year review. Ahead of that, the ICU has backed the Finance Minister on the property tax but called for steps on how to implement it.
That law had been there for a long time, and strangely, it is the AMA or the Metropolitan Assemblies that have been managing it. And it is also skewed to some section of the society. Some sections of our societies are just not paying it. So spreading that tax net will also not be bad and could also rake in some revenue for government. Of course, every government needs revenue to be able to work. So those who are not paying at all, but if they come and want to review the rates that are currently being paid by the same few people that are in the tax bracket, that will not be just in the eyes of the law. And then we believe that this government will do the right thing by getting to those. It includes even parcels of land that has been acquired are also supposed to be taxed. So we believe that area should be able to give government a lot of revenue.
Meanwhile, the IC is concerned with the depreciation of the cedi against major trading currencies. Though the union acknowledged that government has maintained macroeconomic stability, it implored swift measures to deal with the depreciation.
On paper, the current government is calling itself that they've put the inflation under check and control. They managed to bring base rates, all macroeconomic indicators. They are trumping and saying that they've gotten them in alignment. But nevertheless, those on the ground, okay, and all of us who are within the economy, we could see that they've lost control on the fuel issue, and we are actually not feeling the kind of change that government is trying to bring to us.
The association again said it is awaiting on government to indicate in the mid-year budget other sources of funding for projects.
All right, so let's talk about the depreciating city. The minority has already expressed fear that it will get to about 5 cities before the year ends. Well, Majority Chief Whip and a member of the Parliamentary Finance Committee, Matthew Nyindam, says he is confident government economic management team will find ways in resolving the decline of the value of the Ghana cedi. The minority has attributed the depreciation of the cedi to poor management of the economy by the Akufo-Addo administration.
On Wednesday, July 4, the Deputy Minority Leader, James Aveji, predicted a further decline in the value of the Ghana cedi following its recent free fall against the dollar. James Aveji noted that the value of Ghana's currency may fall to 5 cedis 20 pesos to the dollar by December this year. He attributed his prediction to what he calls the poor management of the economy by the Akufo-Addo administration. But Majority Chief Whip and member of the Finance Committee, Matthew Nyindam, said the NPP administration must be credited for ensuring the stability of the cedi until recently.
We are not too happy about what is going on, because when your cedi is wobbling in the international market, everything of yours is not good enough. Okay, and we should also credit the government that previous government, that is the NDC government, suffered a lot. But when we came in for almost 1.5 years, we've been able to stabilize the economy. But that is not to say that what is currently happening, we should attribute it to the NDC. No, I am not doing that. We have to compare better things, not things that are negative. So, like I said, the economic management team, led by Omia, like you said, he's locked the cedi, and the key is given to IGP. Is it that the key is stolen? I think it's a legitimate question you have asked, and he wouldn't sleep. The finance minister will not sleep until we find solutions to some of this thing.
The Bank of Ghana believes the changes in the exchange rate are temporary
Hence, the city would soon see some stability.
And Ghana Standards Authority is set to deploy electrical mobile testing units to various commercial centers in Ghana. Director General of the Ghana Standards Authority, Professor Alex Dodu, said this is part of the authority's strategy to fight the influx of fake electricals on the Ghanaian market. He was speaking at a press briefing in Accra.
Director General of the Ghana Standards Authority, Professor Dodu, said over 50% of electricals on the Ghanaian market are fake, a situation he argues cost the country over 1 billion cedis in revenue. Professor Alex Dodu said mobile electrical testing machines would be sent to commercial centers to check products such as cables, conductors, electric pumps and motors. He said the GSA will also conduct periodic sweeps and deploy more staff to the borders to check fake goods.
Certain sections of the trading community feel like, oh, we'll do what we like. And so let us be clear on this. Our resolve is solid. And this is not going to be a one-off issue. It's going to be consistent. It's going to be regular. Aren't you tired of all the bad products you buy? Ghanaians should begin to look for the mark, whether it's the FDA mark or the GSA mark, that these products have been seen by national authorities. In that case, if it's wrong, you can sue us.
The mobile testing machines will efficiently test electricals to detect variations in wattage and voltage. The mobile testers will also be able to detect irregular and incorrect pricing of electrical products. Professor Dodu further explained that the initiative will free up the market for local manufacturers of quality electricals, adding the authority will work in collaboration with the police to enforce stiff sanctions on importers of fake electricals.
Selling things that will harm people to people is not acceptable. The Ghana Standards Authority wants to be very clear. Our job is to promote trade and protect consumers.
Other products to be inspected include textiles, building materials, furniture and paints.
And prices of key commodities have increased in local markets. Isoko, an information and communication service provider for agricultural markets in Africa, explains that prices are expected to remain high for the next month.
Market price data and analysis for the month of June indicated a rise in commodity market prices. Key commodities have continued to make gains. The highest gain of 14% was made by yam, Puna, rising to 692 Ghana cedis. Maize experienced an increase of 7.26% to close the month at 166 Ghana cedis per bag. Local rice also made a gain of 4.38% to close at 347 Ghana cedis, with cowpea gaining 3.63% to close at 379 Ghana cedis. Groundnut, millet, wheat and imported rice all saw an increase in price. Tomato, however, experienced a significant reduction of 28%. The general trend of price increases for most commodities is expected to continue in August. Traders say the trend has been higher than anticipated for this year.
Both the old and the new yam are expensive.
Last month, one alone can
5.
And this month,
7 cedis.
One tuber of new yam, how much is it?
It's 15 cedis. This year is different.
This year has been different. Prices have gone too high.
Content manager at Isoko explains that the price increase is a seasonal occurrence. He assures Ghanaians of a reduction in prices in the market in August during the harvest season.
Around this period, you see almost all the cereals moving up. This is because the stock that we had in the previous season are virtually used up, and so demand and supply comes in, and then prices usually moves up around this period.
The commodity price index tracks the prices of key agricultural commodities across the country.
Well, so I'll say it's a good time to buy some fresh tomatoes and keep in your deep freezer. That's free advice from me. That will do for the business segment tonight. My name is Nanikia Mensah Brampa. Is I standing by with more.
Thank you, Nikia. Let's do some more stories. Minister for Information, Mustafa Abdul Hamid, has commended the West African Parliamentary Press Corps for their strides in creating a unified media front for media organizations across West Africa. He gave the recommendations in the keynote address at the media summit organized by the regional corps in Accra.
Serving as a communication channel between Parliament and the citizenry has always been the mantra of the West African Communications Corps since its inception. President of the West African Parliamentary Press Corps, Andrew Edwin Arthur, however, feels the media is gradually losing its place as the fourth estate of the realm.
The politicization and the polarization of the media, and this has become so endemic that media practitioners, particularly journalists, have compromised professionalism with impunity for anything that gives them personal comfort.
Vice President of the Ghana Journalists Association, Linda Asantieje, cautioned media houses to desist from sensationalizing every issue. A representative of the Council of State, Stanley Blankson, urged the media to build its messages on peace and nation building.
I will urge you all to build reportage on the positives. Use your news judgment to decide what is most important to include in a story and when to use it.
He further embraced the concept of investigative journalism, stressing it ensures accountability, particularly among political leaders. The Minister of Information, Dr. Mustafa Hamid, commended the West African Parliamentary Press Corps for creating a unified front for media organizations on the continent.
Your singular symposium and summit has brought under this small roof all kinds of shades of opinion in our Ghanaian society. That tells you how powerful you are and how you can use that power either for constructive purposes or for destructive purposes. And I think that so far you've used it for constructive purposes.
Other news, the Kwesi Mintim Police Command, with the assistance of community watchdogs, has rounded up 5 alleged notorious thieves who have been terrorizing residents of Kwesi Mintim and its environs in the Efia Kwesi Mintim municipality of the Western region. 3 of the alleged thieves have been on the wanted list of the command for the past 2 years. The alleged thieves are Kojo Bar, 21, Frederick Garte, 23, Joseph Aka, 24, Simon Edu alias Tiger, 26, and Kwabena Anoche, 28. Items stolen included television sets, mobile phones, cameras, welding machines, and a cash amount of 375 cedis. Briefing the media, the Kwesi Mintim District Police Commander, Superintendent Peter Edu, narrated the thieves went to houses of the victims to steal when they had left for work. He said upon a crime scene investigation, it was realized the thieves used pliers, carjacks, pinch bar and other sharp instruments. Up with Theory Nan shortly. Stay with us. Welcome back to News 360. Time now for some international news. And British Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson has resigned from the British government to protest Prime Minister Theresa May's plans for a soft Brexit. He's the third and most prominent minister to resign in 24 hours over May's handling of Brexit.
Their resignation marks a dramatic and destabilization gesture that illustrates how divided Theresa May's cabinet is over how to navigate the country's departure from the European Union. News of Johnson's departure came just hours after David Davis, the cabinet minister directly responsible for overseeing the Brexit process, resigned on Sunday evening. Davis said that May's vision for Brexit ceded too much control to the European Union, saying, "It seems to me we are giving too much away too easily, and that's a dangerous strategy at this time." Shortly thereafter, the Minister of the Department for Exiting the EU, Steve Barker, quit as well. Johnson, Davies and Barker are advocates for a hard Brexit. May and other members of her cabinet are more inclined to a soft Brexit that entails striking a deal that allows the UK to keep closer ties to the EU after Brexit is complete in 2019. The chaos engulfing May's cabinet has raised questions about whether she could face a vote of no confidence from an old party. If she lost that vote, she would face a challenge for leadership of her party and could be forced to step down. President Donald Trump will be visiting the UK on Thursday, and the subject of Brexit is bound to come up in talks with May.
International News Tonight, coordinator of the Togolese Diaspora Association, Pierre Koda, has called on the government and the people of Ghana to be sensitive to the troubles of the Togolese people, adding that the effects of any violence in Togo will spill over into Ghana. In an interview with Natalie Fort, Pierre Koda said the involvement of the Togolese diaspora can pressurize an end to the 50-year rule of the Nyasimbe family.
Togo has been ruled by a father-son duo for 50 years. Nyasimbe Eyadema seized power in a military coup in 1967. He remained president until his death in 2005, after which the army proclaimed his son's successor. Faure Gnassingbe has been head of state ever since. Opposition parties in Togo say the people are in need of democratic change and inclusive government growth. 2 million Togolese live abroad, and remittances they transfer home to Togo make up almost 10% of the country's GDP.
Comprised some nurses, doctors, engineers, financiers, the whole talented people, youth that is willing to come back to Togo and to help the country improve.
This represents the growing influence of the diaspora in affairs within Togo.
We have been working on in a very fragmented manner, and with the creation of the coalition of the Togolese diaspora for change, we have more might, we have more impact, and now we think we need to go outside and put more pressure, international pressure, again with the domestic pressure the populations that are taking on the street are putting on the government.
Coordinator of the Togolese Diaspora Association, Pierre Koda, called for more international pressure to complement domestic pressure to ensure the government returns to the 1992 constitution.
What's the level of engagement that you would expect from the Ghanaian community?
We want them to go further and to tell the truth to President Faure that really the population is completely frustrated, the mistrust between the population and the government, so they have to move forward and tell the truth.
Opposition parties in Togo began anti-government protest to demand an end to the 50-year rule of the Nyasimbe Eyadema family in the year 2017.
You can get some more international news on our website. It's 3news.com. Coming up next on News360 is entertainment news with Miriam.
Hi there, good evening. Let's settle for some entertainment news on News360. Tonight we start from our sister station, Connect FM. Rappers who turned up at the Connect FM Community Street Rap Battle in 2nd D could not sustain the heat and had to categorize previous editions as Efia Kuma and Kwesi Mintin. Judges had to give the rappers several opportunities to redeem themselves. But at the end, 3 rappers impressed the judges.
Twenty-three
rappers converged at Komfwase in 2nd D to take part in the Connect FM Community Street Rap Battle over the weekend. Among them was female rapper Thelma Marley. She is the first female artist since the competition began 3 weeks ago. Out of the 23, only 3 rappers were residents of 2nd D. The rest came from Shama in the Shama district. Judges became woefully disappointed at the first round, but 12-year-old King Bobo was the toast of the night. The rappers were given several opportunities to give some punchlines. The freestyle session that produced some heat.
What's the waste management? Or share there. I make my imagination another share no. Or share there. I did all your dirty. And now okay, vice really be so.
In the end, Kweku Bane, Thelma Marley and Churches were selected.
When rappers want a beast on the track, nowadays the beat to drop it, you see brothers the slack.
And of course, you can trust the West Side to give you some serious punchlines. Away from that, 24-year-old Canadian pop star Justin Bieber is engaged to U.S. model Hailey Baldwin. CNN and E! News confirm reports of the engagement, which Bieber's parent also appeared to celebrate online. The couple, who dated in 2016 before splitting, had stirred chatter amongst fans in recent weeks. Bieber and Baldwin appeared to have become involved again after Justin broke up with his long-term girlfriend, Selena Gomez. Social media posting popped up over the weekend saying the pair were spotted in Bahamas. As reports surfaced that Bieber, 24, had popped the question to the 21-year-old Baldwin during the trip, his father, Jeremy Bieber, set fans to wondering with his own social media post. Bieber's father, Jeremy, posted a photo of his son on Instagram saying he was excited for the next chapter, while his mother, Patty Mallet, expressed her excitement on Twitter. Well, that's about it for entertainment news tonight. My name is Miriam. I'll catch you on the Urban Blend on 3FM 92.7 at 10 tomorrow.
Thanks, Miriam. Pretty shocking news from Justin Bieber. He's grown up, we guess, right?
Yes, he has, very much.
Very much.
And I'm sure a lot of people thought it would have been Selena Gomez, but we all know how it turned out with them. Yeah. We wish them the very best.
I'll still stick to Selena. I like her music.
Oh.
Yes, absolutely. That's it for this edition of News 360. My name is Issa Morning.
I'm Natalie Fort. You can get some more news on our website. It's 3news.com. Remember, news at 10 will simulcast on our sister station, 3FM 92.7. Thanks for watching. Have a lovely evening.